And we're heading into what I think is going to be a fascinating, awesome week 7 of college football. We have, I think, 6 ranked matchups this week, and none bigger for us than number 10 Penn State at number 5 Michigan. This is the Big Noon game, for which Big Noon will be on site in Ann Arbor, as will I, by the way. I'm looking forward to that. For me, Geoff, this comes down to, can the running backs cancel each other out? Nick Singleton is a phenomenal freshman at Penn State. Blake Corum is in the Heisman race as he's up to, I think, 735 yards rushing. But then again, if it comes down to that, it might be about quarterback play. And J.J. McCarthy's the more talented guy to Sean Clifford. How do you see it playing out?
Wait, so your Big Noon kickoff is going to be there. You're going to be there, and I'm not. Invite me next time, RJ. I'll come down to watch a quality contest. Look, here's the deal. I went and looked this up. So James Franklin has been the coach since 2014. Do you know how many times he's won on the road against a ranked opponent?
I think we're in 0.
One. I think it was like Northwestern, like 8 years ago, something like that. Like, they just don't really win these games. I feel like they're a little bit of a talent deficit compared to Michigan, especially kind of the important, parts of your team. Yes, the offense played much better against Auburn, but the offense really, it's tough for them to generate enough yards and explosive plays, I think, to keep up with Michigan, Michigan is a grinder team, right? Like, they're one of those teams that we see, and I think every weekend, like, oh, it's kind of close. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's 31-10. They just grind on you and grind on you and grind you. Eventually, they pop those explosive plays. I just don't know if Penn State has enough offensively as far as the ability to generate big explosive plays. It's hard in college football to win games when your offense doesn't do that. Like, the NFL, sustained drives, part of the NFL. It's not that much part of college football. And that's what I worry about for Penn State in this game.
I'm with you in as far as Big Game James looking to lose that moniker against Michigan. But I'm also interested in what explosive plays are going to look like in this game. Blake Corum has this really great ability to take a short yardage play and turn it into an explosive play, if not a touchdown. Based on what you said, they're really good at grinding teams down, and that's what Jim Harbaugh wants to do. But they have an X factor like they've never had before in J.J. McCarthy. It's not just a dude that can spin it. It's a guy that can outrun people chasing him. Former 5-star prospect right there from the Illinois area. I think he gives them a little bit more moxie and an edge. Like, this is the difference between, I believe, Kelly Bryant at Clemson, right? And Trevor Lawrence at Clemson.
Yeah.
Cade McNamara at Michigan. J.J. McCarthy at Michigan. Now, that said, and I know he's got Cornelius Johnson. He's got Ronnie Bell. He's got outstanding players to help him. Roman Wilson. But Sean Clifford has Parker Washington out there. Mitchell Tinsley's an outstanding wide receiver, and they might get Keandre Lambert-Smith back this week. I don't know, man. For me, it feels like it could be, if we're talking about canceling out Nick Singleton, Blake Corum, we're talking about perhaps Sean Clifford playing on the level of J.J. McCarthy, that they could end up being matched up with the secondaries. And not for nothing, but Penn State's got like 11 takeaways in the last 3 games. Now, they haven't played nobody, right? Because I don't consider Auburn anybody. And we could talk about that in a different way. But what I'm getting at here, the question that I wanted to ask, what are we going to learn from this game? Like, if anything, do we believe that the winner of this game can beat Ohio State?
No, not yet. Like that, I think that's the winner of this game obviously is in the driver's seat to play them and have an opportunity to win that game. But yeah, I'm not sure that much what happened in this game will make me change my opinion about where Ohio State is in the trajectory of Ohio State. You mentioned the skill position players for Penn State and the opportunity for Clifford. My concern though is, like, when I watch Michigan, I feel like in these big games they do a good job of scheming up ways to get their players into space, right? Reverses, screens, deep play action passes. I'm not sure when I watch Penn State, they have the same mindset of like finding ways to get their guys in the space with an ability to use that speed to get by defense. Like, I trust Harbaugh will have a plan, at least offensively, to let his guys have some freedom on the field. I don't think Penn State quite does that quite the same. I think they're going to struggle more to move the ball.
I don't think they want to, quite honestly. And I think Jim Harbaugh had to be talked into that. First with Josh Gaddis last year.
And it's work. You have to, like, that's the reason why they are successful now. It's the reason why they won the conference last year. Like, again, you have to have the ability, in my opinion, in college football to have explosive plays. You can have an offense that runs great. I get it. But if you're asking college kids to have 10 to 12 plays in a row where they don't mess up, like nothing weird happens, it's college. Like you need to have the ability to score in 3 plays. Like that's part of being successful, in my opinion, on offense in this sport.
Well, he's been successful in allowing Blake Corum to do that for him, but also, again, they're not reinventing the wheel in most cases. They're doing swing passes to Roman Wilson. He's just taking it 60 yards, or they're going over the top to Ronnie Bell for 11 catches in a game that was once tied against Indiana.
Well, part of those swing passes, though, are against man coverage. And like it allows them to get their blockers one-on-one. They know if it's man coverage, I got to block one guy, and my guys, like they just do a good job of scheming that up in that system, I feel like.
That is an offensive lineman there. I want to put a hat on a hat, and I want to go beat somebody up. That's what I want. See, right there. Knew exactly where he was going. Let's go from that game to another matchup of not just top 25 opponents, not just top 10 opponents, but undefeated opponents. Number 3 Alabama travels to number 6 Tennessee. And for the first time since I graduated high school, literally 2006, I believe Tennessee has an opportunity to end their 15-game losing streak against Alabama and their losing streak against Nick Saban at Rocky Top this weekend. What do you think?
I think they do win this game.
They being Tennessee.
They being Tennessee. Is Young playing? I mean, I think he is going to play, right? Like he's not going to be 100% healthy, but I think he probably plays. Yeah, he probably plays. I feel like Tennessee is kind of setting up, been setting this up for a while now, right? And last season, was it the Georgia game or Alabama? And they started pretty fast in that game too, but just kind of didn't have the players. I feel like they're just better this season. And the tempo they play at, it's also just harder to play on the road. We've seen Alabama really, and they're really won. I guess Arkansas was a big road game that they kind of blew out Arkansas early on, but against Texas, they just didn't. Now they're on the road at Rocky Top. I just feel like Tennessee's offense, man, like they got something going this year. They play fast, they play physical, they can ball in space. It's really hard to defend them because they stretch defenses out so wide, right? They have all those guys that line up outside the numbers, and it's just hard for defenses to say, look, are we going to stop the run or stop the screen pass? If not, where's the ball going? I feel like Tennessee's kind of primed for this right now, especially if Bryce Young is not 100%. That Bama offense, man, they're trying to kind of still find their way. Look, it's very hard to just lose pros each year and replace them with pros again, even if you recruit very well, right? You're not going to hit on every single 5-star going to the NFL. I feel like Bama, both offensive line and at wide receiver, RJ, it's just at some point, you're just not going to be as good. And that's fine. It's not an indictment on Nick Saban. They're still very good, but they're just like not as good in offense this season. I think Tennessee can take advantage of all of this and pull off the upset.
Alabama's a more talented football team than Tennessee. It's full stop. Okay. The difference is Tennessee has been much better at taking care of the ball, and it hasn't been as undisciplined. Like that's the shock for me about Alabama this year. It's not necessarily that they aren't as talented as they have been in years past. It's that there are more opportunities for them to put the ball on the floor, and they are really beating themselves up with penalties. I saw this against Texas on the 40 acres, and they just haven't got around that. Now, Jalen Milroe is a different kind of quarterback than Bryce Young, and I'll grant that. I'll also grant that Bryce Young is the reigning Heisman winner. But he looked mortal against Texas A&M last year, against Texas this year, against Auburn last year. And I'm not so certain that he is the X factor that puts you over the top. He makes the offense go and is clearly built to accentuate his skill set. That said, Hendon Hooker hasn't thrown an interception since November 13th, 2021 against the Georgia Bulldogs. Yeah. So if it's about playing clean football and taking your shots when you have them, I think they're going to have an opportunity to do that. Now, I thought it was interesting you bring up the wide splits that they have for the wide receivers. This is a holdover from the Art Browse era of Baylor that we saw Josh Heupel adopt at Mizzou, take to Central Florida, and put to great use at Tennessee. But what that also does is give you a really clean look at the box. And if we think we got the numbers, we're just going to hand the ball to Jabari Small, and we're going to go as fast as we possibly can, try to catch you out of alignment. And frankly, they haven't always been great at getting aligned. It's when you slow down and you let Nick Saban call a defense that you're in trouble.
Yes. And the one downside for this offense that I always worry about in these games is if you have 2 straight 3-and-outs, your defense on the field. Yes. Okay. Any offense that goes super fast, but Tennessee is the best example of this right now. Like if you have a couple 3-and-outs in a row, RJ, your defense is gassed. Like they are gassed and they are tired. I mean, we saw this, so many years with with Chip Kelly at Oregon and him in the NFL as well. Like they go fast. I get it. But if you have 3 and outs, you will regret it. You will lose the game because your defense will be too tired to play a full 60 minutes. So that is my only concern about Tennessee, is that if they are able to, if Alabama is able to slow them down, then Tennessee's defense is going to be in for a long game.
Well, the way that you slow them down is you get those 3 and outs, but also you run the football. And Jahmyr Gibbs is awesome back there. Like, he's a dark horse to win the Heisman Trophy for me, for what he has meant to them. He's as pivotal to their success this year as Jamison Williams was last year. That said, Jace McClellan put the ball on the ground. Not sure that Jahmyr Gibbs has the best handles. For that matter, neither does Roydell Williams. And we've seen, if you can harass Bryce Young, you can get after him. So I'm with you in as far as this offense does not allow for what we call complementary football, right? You're not taking care of the defense, running the offense that Tennessee is. Even if you do it well, you're probably going to score very quickly and put your defense back out there. So you put more of an emphasis on being slender and fast and in shape so you can play that many snaps for the defense, but you give up a lot trying to run the stop the run against a team like Alabama. So I will be interested to see how that one goes too. One note to go out on in this game: it's the first time since 1998 that both Alabama and Tennessee have been ranked inside the top 10 at the time they played the game. And the last time that happened, Tennessee won the national championship. Just laying that one out there for you. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.